Hey everybody, it's Adam Farkas back with you again. Now, last week I think we were all surprised at the release of a new contact lens, which for me it seems like it came out of left field, but at the same time it seems like a product that we were all sort of waiting for many years, and that would be the TOTAL30 contact lens by Alcon. And I know that when the lens came out we had a bunch of questions, so we're very fortunate today to have Sean Clark, the General Manager of US Vision Care at Alcon, to join us and talk to us a little bit about the new lens. So Sean, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me with you.
So let me just dive right into it. I think we've all been, familiarized with the water gradient lenses for a long time, right? Since Dailies Total One came out way back when.
Right.
And I think from the beginning, all of us kind of thought, that material seems like it might make a good 30-day lens. So
Yeah.
what made you finally, take the plunge and go in this direction?
Well, I think, while a lot of the innovation that Alcon's launched over the last several years has been in the daily space, and I think we'll remain committed to fitting patients in daily lenses. I think a lot of our doctors would say that they think that's the healthiest modality. One of the things that we really realized was that there's still 60+% of the wearing population that's in a reusable lens. And, while we've made great progress in bringing people into the dailies modality, there's still a huge bolus of people that are out there in reusable lenses. And there really hasn't been great innovation, for that population in a while. And so, when we first launched Dailies Total One, over 10 years ago, we were really interested in the technology as well and being able to think about how we would move that into a different platform and be able to make it on a reusable lens. The challenge was always from a technology standpoint, how do you marry the benefits of water gradient technology with something that would actually hold up for that full monthly wear cycle? And that was really the code that we needed to crack as an organization before we could come to the market with TOTAL30.
Question here for you. People have been asking with the new lens, what's the sort of target demographic that you think people should be fitting this lens on? Is this with existing patients who might be wearing a 30-day lens or new patients? Who do you sort of envision wearing this?
Yeah, we think it's actually good for anybody that's in a reusable lens today, quite honestly. Some of the research that we did leading up to this launch, showed us that about 3/4 of the people wearing a reusable lens today they do experience some level of significant discomfort at some point in the wear cycle. And so, we think that this is a lens that could almost be a go-to for anybody that's in a reusable lens today. Certainly for a new patient that doesn't want to go into a daily modality, it would be a great place for them to start as well.
Right. And sort of compare and contrast for us, I think all of us are familiar now with Dailies Total One and Precision One. If you fit those lenses already, what's the experience like of fitting this lens?
Yeah, so you're going to have a very similar experience on many dimensions. The level of comfort that you're going to get from this lens is going to be very close, akin to what you'd get from Dailies Total One. And the lens will stand up, the performance will last the full 30-day wear cycle. We were able to marry the water gradient technology with a technology we call Celligent, which is really, it helps mimic some of the surfaces of the eye, and it allows it to actually maintain that really strong deposit resistance over the 30-day wear cycle. And that, as I mentioned before, was really the code that we needed to crack as a company before we could move that water gradient technology into a reusable platform. And so I think those are the main differences. From a wear standpoint, it should be very similar. You'll get all the great comfort that you would get from Dailies Total One. The lens might be slightly easier to handle maybe than Dailies Total One. So from an insertion and removal standpoint, we're getting really good early feedback on those two dimensions as well.
Question that always comes up, availability and parameter ranges?
Yeah, so it'll be +8 to -12. From 6.5 to 8, we go half diopter. And from 8.5 to 12, we go half diopter. Otherwise, it's in quarter diopter steps, just very similar to what you'd find on other lenses. So it's a broad range of population that we'll be able to fit with this lens. So it's starting to be available nationally here in September. So in just a few days, we've done an early launch with a handful of customers just to start collecting feedback. So it's actually out there at several hundred accounts now, but the real national launch will start in September and will ramp up through the balance of the year in a phased approach month over month. So, I would expect that by the time we get to the end of this year or the very first part of 2022, we'll have what we consider to be national distribution.
Great. And have you set an MSRP for the lens?
Yeah, so the MSRP is around $73.70. It's kind of an odd number, but it creates an annual supply that's underneath $300, which is what we were shooting for. And we will have a patient rebate for somebody purchasing an annual supply of $75. So that makes it a very affordable, on a per day or an annual supply cost lens for a patient to get into.
Excellent. And I've got to ask you the question that I always ask everyone: is a TORIC version planned, and if so, when?
Yes, a TORIC version is most definitely planned. And as an astigmat myself, the answer to the second question is not soon enough. But yes, we expect that, like many of our lenses, it might take a year to 18 months for us to start to see a TORIC lens in market, but certainly is in the plans and is something that we're actively working on.
Okay, excellent. Well, Sean, thanks so much for taking the time today, and I hope everyone, reaches out to their reps and starts experimenting with the lens soon.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks a lot.